apart from publishing, see, publishing is just one part of my life, but every one of us should have, I always firmly believe that to have that stability, you need to sit on a four-leg chair, right? In the same room, you can see for some with three legs and some with just one leg and four leg. But four leg is always safe because it gives us the stability. Similarly, in our life also, if I only focus at my business, then I miss out my family. So the four legs of any individual is his personal life. Personal life, what I mean is his health, his own physical exercises and his own writing, reading, all that is personal life. So give some time for that. Then comes your family. Family is also very, very important. So you give time for your children, your spouse, all that. Then comes your business, because without business, it's very difficult. Your own survival and family survival will be questionable. So business. Then the fourth very important is you should also have a social life, because social life gives us a lot of satisfaction. In my 22 years in publishing industry or 10 years in printing industry earlier to that, I've seen that because of social activities, your stature in the society goes up. You always build a credibility for you. That is very important. I always tell today's youngsters that today there is very less competition because people have mistrust. The integrity is missing. If only you try and focus on those things, if people think that you are dependable, you are trustworthy, even if you have lesser skill sets, you will always be on the top. I have seen many drivers, car drivers, their behavior, their manners, their integrity always put them on the top, and they are always in demand. If you want, I will always say in my home jocularly that if you want to plan something, you find out when are the dates he is available, the driver, because we simply got used to such people. Similarly, in any profession you are, this is very, very important. If people start liking you, then the rest of the things will automatically follow. So then I became a Rotarian in the year 1994. Since then, my life is completely changed. Even people have asked those questions. At this age, you have to focus more on your business, why you are spending time in Rotary. But I really enjoy it because Rotary is not doing service to the society also, but primarily it molds one. It makes you as a better person. I was not a speaker in my school days or college days. I used to narrate this story. During my school days, in one of those oratorical competition, I was given a very funny topic, why did I become a thief? That's how my teacher used to give a variety of topics to students to make them to think out of the box. So I prepared something with the help of my father. On that fateful day when I came to deliver that in front of a huge audience, I miserably failed. So that was a big shame for me during my school days. Then later on, when during the convocation, since I was also one of the winner of all-rounder award, they gave me an opportunity to propose photographs. So I wrote it in a small piece of paper and read it out. My dean also ridiculed. He said, after having studied here for this many years, still you have not learned how to speak. But I simply didn't care much. But when I joined Rotary, in Rotary, you have to do this kind of tasks repeatedly. So when I made one of those meetings, when I missed while proposing vote of thanks, I felt ashamed on that day. But luckily that time the president didn't say anything. In fact, he complimented also for all that things that I produced that day. But that gave me an impetus that I would consider as a fuel for me, that for nothing I got this appreciation, I should probably do something. Later on I realized that what was given to me as an appreciation was just a seed in me that I should produce something. So then I learned the art of public speaking. There, If you know how to learn something, instead of going and learning particular thing, how do I learn playing violin? How do I learn riding a motorcycle? It doesn't help. Instead, if you know the nuts and bolts of that learning methodology, then easy for you to learn everything. So that's what has made me what I am today. So you get practice. You have to practice. If you want to be a swimmer, you have to get into the water and swim. If you want to be a speaker, you have to speak. So I made use of in my formative years all those opportunities that were given to me. Of course, the beginning and all, it was horrible, terrible. I only empathize and feel sorry for those who were, spectators for my public speaking. But we also improve. I wouldn't say that I've reached anything. I'm still a learner. So similarly, during the time of COVID pandemic time, I started writing short stories. Though I was writing last 10, 12 years, articles on various topics, but actually I turned out to be a storyteller recently. Similarly, I learned cooking. Today, I 2 years back, I can't even prepare coffee, but today I can cook any. I should not say anything. Most of those things that what we eat on everyday life, I can do that. I found one thing that's common, whether it's learning public speaking or learning art of storytelling or cooking. The modus operandi of learning is same. So I would say, because it gives you confidence. Today, communication, not necessarily be talking to audience or talking in the office, between your close people. If you see today, most of the marital conflicts rises because of poor communication. So communication is vital. So I only earnestly request all my young listeners that you develop that skill. Today it's very easy. Never say that I can't do this. If you say you can't do that, you can't do that. If you say you can do it, you will do it. This is what Henry Ford has said. So it's all in your mind. I'm sure you will also one day turn out to be what you want to, what you aspire for. If you ask me any of my favorite books, it's difficult to say, because at different ages I grew to different authors. In my formative years, I started reading in my mother tongue Tamil much earlier than English, probably 6-7 years ahead of English. So when I started reading in English, it was very primitive actually. In Tamil, I was reading literature, but in English, I was reading annotated, simple classics. It doesn't matter if tomorrow I'm going to learn German or French. I have to start from alphabetics, isn't it? Then I have to go from small fables and all that. So I can't expect that day one I should start reading what I am reading in my mother tongue or English. So if you ask me, in my younger days, I like those John Kennett series, because those books, those small stories, Oliver Twist, the Treasure Island, so many of those Charles Dickens stories, all that I really enjoy. Then you cannot stay at some point. You know why we do all this. You see, we in pursuit of happiness. If I say I'm doing this for society, I'm doing for this, all that is secondary. It's all cover up. But basically, as Bertrand Russell says in his book, The Conquest of Happiness, we are doing it for our own happiness. I end of it, I'm happy about it. Whether giving something to you or whether accomplishing a task, it gives me an happiness. Because today the science very clearly says what is that happiness. If a particular hormones release in your body, it makes you happy. So as long as that secretes in your body, you feel excited. But if you repeatedly do that, then after some time it balances and you don't get that happiness at all. So the books that you are reading at particular time may not be interesting, that level may not be interesting. So you naturally go to the next level, the next higher level. Then I move to the next higher level. That time was very famous novels of Sidney Shelton and those very famous classics. All those things, fiction, not classics. The pulp fiction I read. Then in the 90s, I stopped reading fiction. I moved on to non-fiction, particularly self-development. When you are in your 25, 26, 27, you tend to know what is that I'm going to do. So you look at more of a self-help book. Today we read a lot of books. So anything connected to science, I am very much interested. Anything connected to history, I am very much interested. So today I don't have anything fixed. All those books that gives me new information and excites me, I read it with love. Publishing today has become very simple, as I said. It is not very complicated as it was before. Today, if you have a TypeScript ready in your hand, and if you edit it very well, and if it is ready for publication, you go to your printer, tomorrow evening the book is ready. Few years back it was not so. You have to print minimum 500 copies or 1,000 copies to get a book out of it. But today you can print even 1 copy or 4 copies you can print. That means you don't have that burden of investment. Earlier you have to print at least 500 copies to enjoy that economies of scale. But today things are very, very easy. Anybody, even an author can, self-publishing is becoming very common. So publishing, if you see the Chennai Book Fair, where I was part of the organizing committee as vice president recently, the treasurer earlier times. What I have noticed is the number of publishers asking for allotment of stalls at Chennai Book Fair has been steadily increasing. Of course, we have limitations because the space is the constraint. So we can go up to 750 stalls or maximum of 800 stalls. But year after year, we get more applications, for new applications from people that they wanted to exhibit their books. So publishing is today is very, very simple, not as complicated as before. But what is very difficult and complicated today is how to reach out. There are 2 parts. One is producing a book and bringing it to the market. The second is how to reach out to the people to whom the book is intended for. The task is incomplete unless the person to whom I have written the book that reaches to them. So that is going to be a challenging one. That is, people often ask this question. Olivannan, with the changing technology and the changing phase of industry, do you think that the publishers will exist anymore? My answer is publisher will remain there, will be there. Only thing is role will be redefined. That is what. I can't operate at the level what my father was doing, but today it's different. You have to redefine yourself. Then the role of publisher is very important because your publisher only knows the market. He knows which are the areas it has to be focused. If as an author or an individual publisher, your reach is less. The publisher is like an amplifier, right? It reaches out to hundreds and thousands of people. Your voice, suppose you make a noise here, probably few of us only can hear it. But a publisher is one who takes it to different people with this experience, with this credibility. That's very important. You are seeing today hundreds and thousands of news channels in YouTube, right? But what happened now, people are quietly settled. It may not be proper for me to state the names here, but we know by ourselves if we want to listen to something, which are the channels we should look out for, because over the years they have created a branding for themselves. And what is branding? Branding is the loyalty that you create on somebody. That's why, oh, if this is the name, okay, if you go there, they will not cheat us. We'll get a quality food. So that's very, very important. So that will not happen one day. That will take time, over the period of time. And in the test of time, how you have conducted yourself. Over the last 42 years, Emerald Publishers proved to be the best, I can say. But when we had faced crisis, how did we behave at that time? That's very, very important. Last 2 years was a very bad time for publishing because there were no operations. But we were only, I can say few because I don't know much about it, but we continue to give royalty to the authors. We know that for them also situation would be different. We could have easily taken an excuse. Look at that, we have not billed in my life since I came into business, continuously not opening a bill book. Of course, we do it in computer, but I'm only saying that for the sake of interest. So we have not done any billing for months in 2020. We could have easily taken an excuse, but we did. So why, if you say I'm not a very benevolent or all that is different, basically I know that this is the best opportunity for me to hold my authors and also to woo others. So I would say that please welcome. I welcome you to the world of publishing. But what you should bring in here, not only your knowledge and expertise, but also bring in some values into it. That is what ultimately counts. See, some publishing companies have been closed in recent times. Some of them wound up their operations in this country, all that. But I don't see that those things are all as negative factors, because, today, as I said, you cannot operate it in a conventional style. You have to change. All right, it was okay with them to have different branches, all over the country, and big size with a lot of people working. All that was right. But today, as I said, end of the day, you have to compete. Suppose an individual produces a book. She comes out with a book, and that book is displayed in a bookstore. And a book by very big publisher also is kept next to her. The price cannot be different. Say it's 300 pages book, so the price of this book or her book cannot be big. There cannot be big difference in it. Can be maybe 5% or 10%. Just because it comes from a very big publishing house, it cannot be sold at 3 or 5 times more. So for the problem for them was the increasing overheads and also reduced sales. They have to round up their operations. But what I see, the twilight in this darkness is that, this gives ways for many, many publishers. So that's what I said. We survived. When my father started in 80s, people said there are quite a number of big people, or you can say even sharks. Big sharks are there. We were very small fish floating in the ocean. But we are very fortunate that sometimes when you are very small, you simply get unnoticed. That's what probably had happened. But things have changed today. We also have grown, and you have to manage today. The simple mantra, I would say that you make it simple, reduce your costs, and you are not competing with big people. That's what I tell. Big people, one by one, is vanishing. We are not competing with them, but we are competing with individual self-publisher, where one girl, she publishes her book on her own. She will produce the same quality, or I'm not hesitating. She may even produce better quality than Emerald publishers. But our real competition comes only the pricing, because both of us are going to price it at the same level. But for her, there is no cost involved. Everything is done by her. For us, we have some costs associated with us. So we always look at them as competitors. So I tell them that we should match with them, not only in terms of the rest of the things, also the pricing. If only that is taken care, of course, with our 4 decades of experience, we can surge ahead. So let's not, I am always optimistic. I'm brutally optimistic that I always see that there is a plenty of opportunity, because there aren't many players. So looking at them, I need not worry that I will also be close tomorrow, but we are looking at it in a different way. So it's now very easy for anybody to come and start a publishing company and march ahead.